40% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And when I say that, I'm not talking about Miss make $34,000 a year. I'm talking about Mr. makes $200,000 a year and got a stay-at-home wife that could have a job, but they don't want to get a job. I'm talking about the person that you at least expected, the person that drives a 7 Series BMW, the person that you are envying and wanting to be like, but you have no idea that they have $125,000 worth of personal loans and credit card debt. Those people, that is who calls me every single day trying to figure out how they can consolidate their life, consolidate their debt, and get from under the crushing weight of debt that they have accumulated simply by trying to make it through this economy. It's not just you. And that's the first thing that I want to explain. It's not just you. It's a lot of people. No one can control what the economy is doing. The Federal Reserve had to slow things down significantly because everybody had too much money and they were spending it and inflation was out of control. So feel good in knowing it's not just you. Just because you scrolling through Instagram and it look like everybody living their best life and they on vacations, baby, I done seen the credit reports, okay? You don't want to go on that vacation, okay? You don't want that. All right, they got a new car. Guess what? That Nissan Altima or that Honda Accord that they got, they paying $560 a month. You know why? Because the rate on it is 26% for 72 months. So for that Nissan that they bought, it's really $40,000 over the life of the loan. You don't want those problems, okay? So don't worry about trying to have the latest and the greatest and being out having brunch, because baby, that $40 brunch actually turns into $200 because you got to put interest on it over the next 15, 20, 21, 24 years to pay it off. So let's talk about what the red flags look like to know for sure that you may be somebody who's financially struggling or headed towards rock bottom. I had a guy call me and it cracked me up. He had an 840 FICO score and he owned his home for about 13 or 14 months. And he said, I gotta sell this house. I can't live here no more. I'm struggling. Now this gentleman, he lived in Oklahoma and he earned, it was a manufactured home too. And he earned about $68,000 a year, I think it was, or maybe $78,000 a year. And when I looked at his credit report, he had one credit card that had like $1,000 balance, and he had one car payment that was about $450 a month, and he owed only $8,000. And he was like, I'm drowning. I can't take no more. I need help. And it tickled me because he does have an 840 FICO score, which let me know he understood what the emotional triggers were. He understood what he should be looking out for to know that he was in trouble before he got in trouble. I talk to people that are deep in debt, up to their eyebrows, and they just like, no, I'm good, I'm okay. I don't want to give up my 3% interest rate. So I have a separate video actually where I'll talk specifically about solutions to being able to get rid of your credit cards and things like that. But the purpose of this is just to talk a little bit about making sure that you understand what your life looks like when it's out of control, because the people on the outside, they could probably see it better than you can in your own situation. So sign number one, you're anxious about money. Money makes your heart flutter. It does something to your stomach. You don't want to check to see how much money you have left in the bank. You just gonna wing it and hope that you make it to the next pay period, right? Money looks like or frustrations look like your kid asked to go somewhere and you're annoyed because you feel like they just asked you for something 20 minutes earlier, and you're stressing me out because you don't have the extra money to spend. But your kid doesn't understand that. They don't know that. They want a Snickers bar and you're like, I can't get you a Snickers bar right now. You're frustrated, you're upset. Anything that is the slightest inconvenience is sending you into a spiral. I said earlier, you're not opening your bills. You get them and you like, well, I'll open it later. And then you end up with a stack this high of stuff that you haven't opened. That is a sign that you are financially stressed and financially struggling. When you get to the grocery store, are you swiping your debit card or are you swiping your credit card? Because we understand groceries are high. I'm willing to believe, and I hadn't seen this on paper, but I think groceries are probably like 20% or 30% more than what they were 4 years ago. If you go and you look at an old Walmart online order and you put that in your cart today, I guarantee you it is significantly more for those 60 items today than they were back then. So you gotta eat, right? You gotta eat. Are you using your credit card though to get those 60 items instead of your debit card or cash to get those items? That's a sign right there. When you start using your credit card for necessities, or you're paying your water bill, or you're paying your electricity bill or your gas bill on a credit card just to make sure that they don't get cut off, that's a sign that things are getting out of control. And of course, I mean, everybody know this is a huge red flag. You not answering them collectors phone calls. You see all them 800 numbers, you getting text messages, and you like, not today. Not today, Satan. Not today, Satan. And you just kicking the can down the road, and things are going into collections because you don't want to make a payment arrangement. You don't want to make a payment arrangement that you can't honor. You don't want to make a payment arrangement because you don't have the $50 today. Maybe you'll have it on Friday, but then of course between now and Friday something is bound to come up and you ain't gonna have it then either. So you just completely ignoring the phone calls. Another sign, you staying in the house more and more often. You're finding yourself becoming more and more isolated because you can't afford to go out to brunch like you did a year ago. You don't have the money to go to the mall and just shoot the shit with your homegirls. You are finding yourself staying in the house more and more often away from people because you don't want to swipe your card and it get declined in front of everybody. You don't want to go out with your homegirls and end up in a situation to where you got to be like, hey, can you give me $20, $30? I need some gas money. You none of those things. All of those things are signs that you are slipping away, farther and farther and farther away, and getting closer and closer to this bottom, to this pit, to this uncomfortable, lonely space. I saw a statistic that said about 28% of millennials don't have $1,000 in their bank account for emergencies. If that's you, that may be a sign that things are headed in the wrong direction. If you are someone that is in a scenario where you normally would pay your rent on the 1st, but now you finding that you paying it on the 6th or the 7th, and you trying to tell the rent people, hey, give me an extra day, give me an extra week. Same thing for your car payment. Let's say your car payment is due to be paid on the 6th, but you not making your car payment on the 6th anymore. You are making it on the 31st of the month because you have to juggle money, robbing Peter to pay Paul. All of these are huge signs that things are about to slip away from you. Believe it or not, everything that I just outlined is not just a financial issue. It's an issue with you psychologically and emotionally too. And a lot of times we don't connect those two things. The ability to go out and enjoy your family and your friends and suddenly having that taken away from you, it impacts you emotionally. It impacts you psychologically. Going from a 6-figure job to having to go get a 9-to-5 job, it impacts you emotionally. And the very first step that you have to do, instead of trying to kick the can down the road and try and brush it off like it's not a big deal, the very first thing that you have to do is admit that there's a problem. This is your first step to healing when you're at rock bottom. So One of the major emotional, psychological hurdles is breaking the shame. You are embarrassed. You don't want anybody to know. You don't want to tell anybody. You don't want to tell your family. You don't want to tell your friends. The first step that you have to do is break the shame and understand, especially if you've gone through a life-altering event like a breakup or a divorce, it's more than just you. This happens to almost everybody. And once you're able to remove that and understand, like, if you're able to step out from the shadows and say, man, life is whooping my ass right now, it will make it okay for all of the girls in your friend circle that's struggling too to say the same thing. It's okay to acknowledge the fact that life has cycles. It's ups and downs. Just because you're down right now does not mean that you're not going to recover. It doesn't mean that you're going to stay down. It can feel like that because you don't know how long you're going to be down there. And sometimes when you think you hit rock bottom, it's still a little bit more room there to keep falling. And to be honest with you, I can't promise you that you're not going to still be in some level of free fall. But sometimes you just got to ride the wave. You just got to go with the flow, go with it, understand that this is a part of the process. Sometimes things have to be broken in order to be fixed. This is not a failure. It is a transition for you. And you are being transitioned into something probably a lot better. I was at church today, if you can't tell by my outfit, and the pastor talked about how Saul transitioned into Paul and how it was this sudden shift that happened out of absolutely nowhere. And sometimes those financial shifts happen suddenly out of nowhere, and it just leaves us blind. We can't see. We don't know the forest from the trees. We don't know which way to go and what to do next. And it happens to everybody. And I always tell people, the people that you want to be like, the people on TV, don't think for 1 second that the people on TV have more than what you have. Because just because they might have a $1,400 car payment and you got a $200 a month car payment, if they can't make their $1,400 car payment and you can't make your $200 car payment, baby, y'all are the same. Okay? The people that you see on TV and a lot of these sitcoms, they're living paycheck to paycheck too. The people on the movies, most of them are living paycheck to paycheck too. You are not alone. No one is exempted. Nobody is special. Sometimes even just writing these things down, writing down your thoughts and writing down your feelings when you feel like you're at rock bottom, when you don't have nobody to talk to, write down your thoughts, write down your feelings, get them out so that they're not bottled up and they're not weighing you down. You need to find a way to release. I don't know if that means trying to find some sort of a hobby or something, or even documenting your process through something like a YouTube channel. There is a way for you to find a community of people that will support you through what you are going through. And sometimes strangers are a lot more supportive and least judgmental towards you versus the people that can actually physically reach out and touch you. Once you've gotten to a place where you're like, okay, this is what it is, I hate it here, you need to start rebuilding your confidence. Because a lot of times when we are up and we flying high and everything is going our way, we're not afraid to have missteps. We're not afraid to take risks. We're not afraid to do whatever the next thing is that we think we should do. When you have a money problem, unfortunately, money takes away from options and opportunities. It reduces your risk-taking ability. You're not able to move forward because you're petrified that it's going to get you into an even deeper and even worse situation. That takes a toll on your confidence when every time you want to do something or every time you think something, you're thinking negatively, thinking about the worst possible outcome that could possibly happen. You're not able to move forward because you have to have a shift in your mindset. You've got to rebuild the confidence that you once upon a time had in your ability to move and shake and do what you got to do. One thing I tell people to do when I'm advising them about buying a house is going to the scariest place on earth, and that is your bank statements. Go into your bank statements and start eliminating things and realize, where are you wasting money? Where it was okay to have $25 Netflix, maybe you don't need to have Netflix right now. Okay? And I know it sounds really petty to say going from the $25 package, I don't know how much Netflix costs, to the $6 package. Oh, that's not going to save me a whole lot of money. I can't really do that. Yeah, but if you do that 8 different times in different spaces in different areas of your life, now all of a sudden, guess what? You got an extra $200 that you didn't have before. Start celebrating your small wins. If you're able to save $20 because you reduced your Netflix bill, that is a win. And those little small wins will help you rebuild your confidence. They'll give you what you need to make you feel like you can start making good, positive financial decisions again. They will give you the motivation to do more. It will give you the motivation to say, okay, you know what? I need to increase my income. Let me try something different. Let me do something different. And as you start accumulating these small wins, those small wins is going to be the thing that's going to free you from yourself. Because right now, you're probably in a situation where you are your biggest and worst enemy. Okay, so here's a couple of quick steps that I would recommend that you take once you have finally decided, okay, this is it. I don't want to continue to be in free fall anymore. 1, you need to assess the damage. Take a deep breath. Write down everything, every bills that you don't think about. Look in your bank statement so you can identify that you swiped your card 15 times at Starbucks unknowingly. Look and see in your bank statement how many times did you go to McDonald's, to Wendy's, to Burger King because you were in a situation where you was depressed, you was barely eating, you definitely weren't getting ready to try and cook. You looking around your house, you're like, my God, my house is a complete freaking mess. We done all been there before. But you need to assess the damage and you need to start. Even if that means just starting to clean up your room, clean up your bathroom, clean up your kitchen. Doing something that is putting you back in a situation where you were before. But you have to be able to acknowledge your financial damage as well as the physical damage around you. Next, you need to create some sort of a budget. You need to prioritize your spending. You need to make sure you have money to pay the rent, money to pay your utilities, money to pay your car payment, right? Money for food. And this could mean that you are just extremely uncomfortable for a long time. If at the end of the day, those are the only 4 things that you can afford and you don't make those credit card payments, then, well, hey, you got to do what you got to do. But you have to survive this phase of your life in order to get to the next phase of your life. If you have started to feel a little bit better about, okay, I'm saving money because I've eliminated all my unnecessary spending. I'm saving money because I've gotten rid of some subscriptions. I'm not eating out as much. I'm trying to cook, trying to do a little HelloFresh here and there. If you've gotten yourself to that point, you may now be ready to start rebuilding your credit. And that could just be picking up the phone and saying, hey, I acknowledge that I messed up. I know this is in collections now. What can we work out? Maybe negotiating the balances of those collections down to be able to get them possibly deleted from your credit report. Maybe you just simply start making payments on time or catching up. Maybe you just need to start paying the smallest debt that you have down first. Again, remember, our confidence is low right now. We're not sure if we're doing the right things. So we're trying to do things to try to boost that serotonin to make sure that we are getting some quick wins, some quick hits of dopamine. Say, oh yeah, this is a good thing you're doing. Good job, good job, good job. If your credit score has gone to shit, then at this point, you probably don't have no credit cards anymore. You need to start rebuilding your credit. That would mean maybe if you're in a scenario now where kind of starting back over again, you might need to go get a secured credit card. A secured credit card is when you give the bank your own money to hold on to, and that is actually your limit. So it could be here, Bank of America, here's $300 of my money, And then now you can start spending $10 at a time and repaying that $10. You want to get back into those habits of becoming a bill payer again, because over this last 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, when things were spiraling out of control, you became somebody that was kind of sort of okay with not paying bills on time and with robbing Peter to pay Paul. You have to relearn the habits that you had before when things were a lot better. And so one way to do that, and one way that will help your credit score, is getting a secured credit card. So this is something to think about. And then last but not least, you got to start rebuilding your emergency savings. $10 here, $20 there. Okay? Just because you might have got a little pay bump, or just because you got a tax refund, that didn't mean go out, ball out, and celebrate with your friends. If you're in a situation like that, you need to rebuild your cushion. Okay? I guess different people have different opinions about if you should have a savings account versus paying off debt first. I feel like you need to pay yourself first. Okay, because you could be paying them collections off all day long, and it's not going to help you if you get a flat tire. You need to have money to be able to get yourself out of that situation if you get a flat tire, or if you get a toothache, or whatever the scenario is. So start saving money, putting money away a little bit at a time. Hell, I don't know if you quite there yet, but shit, you might want to consider investing in the 401k by putting just 1% and building your way up to whatever the maximum amount is that they're willing to match for you. But whatever it is, you know what rock bottom looks like. You know what it feels like. You know you don't like it, and you know you don't want to go back there again. And having money set aside in the event that things do start to spiral out of control is extremely helpful for you getting better sleep at night. So those are my suggestions. Those are steps that I'm literally having to take for myself at this point, because like I said, I kind of hit what I felt like was a rock bottom a little bit over a year ago, and I'm still kind of sort of feeling my way, working my way through it. But it really did take me having to look inside of myself and say, okay girl, what we doing? How we gonna get out of this? Because I would say, oh, yeah, all I got to do is, and then I wasn't taking any steps towards it. Or me thinking to myself, oh, okay, well, it'll be easy. No, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to hurt. It's going to be frustrating. It takes you probably twice as long to get out of the situation as it took for you to get in it. Because remember, your credit score plummets real fast. Digging out of that hole is slow, arduous, hard work. It is a grind, and I'm gonna be on that journey right along with you. I don't want you to feel alone. That's why I tell people all the time, look, I'm a regular schmegular person. The economy goes up and down. For me, it goes up and down. For you, it goes up and down. For Kim Kardashian, and nobody is exempted. So if you found this information to be helpful, y'all put in the comments, let me hear your stories. I would love to know, have you been in a situation where you felt like you hit rock bottom? What did you do? What is something that you would like to add to my list to help people get themselves back on track and get themselves into a better situation? Hell, give me some advice. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe if you like this kind of content. I'm curious to know, what types of tips and advice would you like to add to the list that I've already provided? I would love to know, if you felt like you've hit rock bottom before in the past, what helped you get out from being in that situation? We can all come together as a community and not bash anybody, not throw stones at anybody, because those are the things that keep people in those situations and keep people feeling like they can't be honest with their friends, their family, or even be honest with themselves. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. So until next time, bye.